I'll be talking about the Ghana National Service Scheme in this segment. Before we start the conversation off, we'd like to send a massive birthday shout to you, Mr. Amankwa Mpofo, formerly of GBC, for your many selfless years of service to the corporation and the nation. We salute you today as you turn 70. Congratulations. We hope you have a swell celebration. So, the matter on board now is national service, established in 1973 by a military decree with the mandate to mobilize and deploy Ghanaian citizens of 18 years and above, especially newly qualified university graduates, on national priority development programs that contribute to improving the quality of life of the ordinary Ghanaian for a one-year mandatory national service. The scheme has delivered this for the past 50 years. This year, it's announced that it will be deploying 60 to 70% of personnel to the private sector. Why this number? Cash problems, better demand from the private corporate organizations other than the public sector. More questions for him to answer. Executive Director of the National Service Scheme, Mr. Osei Asibe Entry, is our guest this morning. Mr. Entry, thank you for making the time.
Thank you also for inviting me.
So, national service, mandatory 1 year. When is this year's starting, and then when should we expect deployments to begin?
Well, first of all, let me thank you for inviting me here, and I also come with greetings from the family of national service. This year, that is those who are currently doing national service, they will be ending in October, meaning that they started last year, November. And so, as a matter of fact, we've made the necessary arrangement to make sure that this year, that is the batch 2023-2024 batch, will have to start in 1st October. For the simple reason that October is going to be the leave period for those who are currently doing the national service, and you don't want to create the empty space. Because anytime there's an empty space, we know it really affects a lot of institutions. So we just don't want that thing to happen. So
the batch that's at work now, they'll end in October?
October. That is, October is going to be a leave period for them. But a matter of fact, they are ending in October.
It means that for those who have applied to be deployed for national service, they're expected to report to work 1st October.
1st October.
Of 2023. How many people are you expecting to deploy? What's the numbers you're looking at?
This year we are looking at more than 185,000.
185,000 people who have qualified to be placed on national service.
For the simple reason that now you know that unlike the previous years where those are the polytechnics, a lot of them were not doing the national service. Now Polytechnic is currently a university. It's a university, so they will all do their national service. It's a technical university. Then nurses, as at now, also do service because they also graduate at the tertiary level. Teachers graduate at the tertiary level. And we are now getting the positive effect of the free senior high school. That is also upsurging the numbers.
Why the decision to send 60-70% to the private sector?
This year we also want to support the agenda of the government. We all know since President Kufuor's time, there was this declaration that for the nation to move forward, then we need to look at the private sector, that the private sector is the engine of growth. So if you have all accepted that the private sector is the engine of growth, then why not we support them? So we need to support them. So unlike the previous years, we have all attention have always been on the public service. That's the public sector, denying the private sector. And you and I also do agree that when you talk about employment, the public sector is almost full. But the private sector, there are a lot of vacancies there. So if we are all singing the same song, that we want to get job for our graduates, then why don't we push a lot of them? Because there is a saying that the sweetness of the pudding lies in the eating. So the more you send the NSPs to the private sector, for the private sector to know how qualified they are, how ingenious they are, how innovative they are, that is what is going to help the private sector to also absorb a lot. We live in a country where all burdens have been put on the shoulders of the central government. So it's also a way of relieving the central government of little stress.
What's the procedure then? Do the candidates or the applicants have to find places for themselves and then come to you to effect the posting?
Well, anytime we talk about national service, we have major stakeholders. The major stakeholders has to be the tertiary, that is the universities. They have to do the production, so they produce the graduates. And at the end of the day, they submit their list to us. We call it class list. So after the submission of the class list to us, for us to do the analysis of it, to classify them, we also write to the user agencies. And the user agencies also have to make a demand. So as at now, we have made a lot of announcements. There are a lot of jingles being played all around this country by TV stations, radio stations. We have done a lot of publication inviting the private sector to make their demands.
Are they making the demands?
A lot have started coming.
Put some figures to it for me.
Well, last year we were able to do more than 23,000. So, but as at now, we've received more than that number.
You've received requests for more than 23,000
Yes.
persons. But that's still way below the 60-70%
We've
target.
just started. We've just started. The announcement just started. UTV started playing, GTV also started playing yesterday. So it means that now that you are playing all the jingle for a week, 2 weeks, they will be coming in their numbers.
Are there classifications of the type of applicants that the private sector wants?
Yes, the private sector are always in need of the ICT, the sciences. So as for this year, all their demands are we will meet their demands. Because the private sector needs actuarial science, the private sector needs the ICT background, the private sector needs the sciences. And so that is the cry of the private sector. That is why now the private sector, they are so happy about the Minister of Education, the introduction of STEM innovation, because they know that the universities are now going to produce what they need.
But is it not also because of financial constraints?
Oh, far from that. Because if you follow us, this year we've been paying the national service. If you compare...
You're not in arrears.
If you compare the performance of the payment, the performance of national service with regard to the payment of allowances, the records will attest to it that it is now better.
So you are not in arrears?
We are arrears in 1 month. But you see that one...
Two.
No, let me explain to you. A lot of people do not understand the calendar of national service. Because the national service, we deal with the large numbers. And then there's a lot of evaluations to be done. So as a result of that, national service, we don't pay them at the end of the 30th as you receive your salary. Always the national service calendar moves to the 15th of the following month. So that is what is actually beating a lot of people.
But you ask personnel to sign some, have some forms signed for them at work, which they then forward to the office for it to be worked on.
Yes,
and these forms are brought around the middle of the month. It's not enough time to process the monies to get to.
First of all, it's about understanding the process. With national service personnel will first of all have to go and download the form. You fill the form, then you send it to your supervisor at your working place for them also to vet for you. And after that, they need to send it to the district where they are. Then it will be moved to the region, back to the head office. So there's a lot of chain, a lot of auditing chain before it gets to the head office. But even to be able to normalize the system, for the system to be at par with that of yours, that is by the end of the month, you will get your salary. We are seriously working to digitize that. So once that digitization is done straight away, it is going to normalize the system.
Let me invite the public into our conversation. The Executive Director of the National Service Scheme is at our table answering some of our questions and yours. Let's have what your concerns are, and I'll put some of them to him. Our WhatsApp number 05555 and we'll read some of them out loud. Mr. Entry, who pays personnel when they are in the private sector?
When they are in the private sector, it is those institutions that requested for them that pays the full allowance and even pay us additional 20%.
So it gives you some kind of financial leeway.
Yes, it's also gives us
if there are more people going into the private sector, right?
Exactly so.
So how then do you repose the confidence that communities, for example, who depend on these applicants, these national service personnel, to provide them with education, teachers in the classrooms, because people will not accept to go there most of the time, how are they sure that they will get the numbers that they need in this service here if already 70% are in the private sector?
See, the figures, that is the percentage that was put out, has to do with the demand from the private sector, but not the absolute numbers. Because like I said, this year, for instance, we've been able to churn out 165,000. And out of the 165,000, we sent almost 60,000 to support GES in the area of teaching and learning. So that is not to say that if you are talking about 70%, the 70% is not applicable to the 180,000 that we are expected to post. But what we are saying is that out of the demands that the private sector will put forward, we will make sure we meet more than that number. We will meet at least 70%.
So the communities that depend on some of these teachers, for example, will not suffer?
No, they will not. They will not.
How far have we gone with fixing some of the bottlenecks in the system when it comes to accepting postings to rural communities? The conversations around there is no accommodation, there is, little incentive to go there. Every year we raise these issues. Has anything been done?
A lot has been done. We are seriously talking with our major stakeholders. Just last week, we had opportunity of meeting with the Votarians Regional Coordinating Council, that is at the Volta region. We met the whole council. What was the purpose? The purpose was to send a message that we are prepared to support them, but they should also be prepared to also receive the national service personnel and also support them. During the time that we were doing national service, what was the community doing for us? The community was also providing us with accommodation here and there. So why has the community also checked that responsibility? So now we are soliciting the community support for the community also to provide accommodation. We are talking to the district assemblies. So we are also talking to the various chiefs to come on board and support. And we are receiving favorable response.
Any other motivation for people who accept postings outside Accra, Kumasi, Takoradi, and the big cities?
There's a motivation. For instance, in the area of those that will be sent to go and teach, throughout all these years, they were not being equipped with the knowledge in teaching before we post them. But last year, we managed to sign on board with an institution called TTEL. And what did they do for us? They supported us in piloting a number of 2,000. So they were equipped with pedagogical training.
What does that mean?
Pedagogical training means that is we are taking them through the rudiment of teaching, to the methods of teaching. Because you can have all the ideas in the world, but if you don't have a knowledge in teaching, it's going to be very difficult for you to deliver.
So it's some kind of orientation.
It's orienting them for non-teachers, because, for instance, those who normally attend KNUST, that is the sciences, we need them a lot to go and teach maths. We need them a lot to go and teach biology at the senior high school. But they have not been taught with pedagogy, and therefore they will go. They are first-class students, but yet they will be found wanting. So we have signed on board with them. We did a pilot. This year, for instance, we are scaling it bigger, and not only orienting them for the month. This year, we will put them in classroom for a month to orient them. And it's not going to end there. Even whilst they are doing their national service, distance program will also be offered to them. So by the time they are done with their national service, they will be given a certificate, because we are doing it in partnership with NTC, We are doing it in partnership with GS and GTech. An arrangement has been made with the universities that trains our graduates to become professional teachers. So now they are going to be taught throughout. And by the time they are done, they are going to be professional teachers with certificates, meaning that when they are done, they can go anywhere that the demand is. Around this country, the Francophone countries are in need of teachers. There was opportunity there. In Nigeria here, they are in need of teachers.
So you are giving a science major or a mathematics major from university 1 month orientation in teaching in the classrooms,
yes,
which will then earn them an NTC or some kind of teachers or teaching certificate, is what you're saying?
That is correct.
So now they are teachers?
No, what I'm saying is that they've gone into the university, they've gone in to do a lot of courses that they selected, but yet they are not professional teachers. But we rather need them to go into the classroom to go and teach.
I get that bit.
Yeah.
So
that bit was that yes, they were just going to be in the classroom for 1 year, but after teaching for 1 year, they will just come out. But yet they are not professional teachers. But now we are enhancing their skill. We are enhancing their skill. We are making them more highly employable.
But we know that the challenges with even the teacher licensure examination. I'm asking this because others are sitting exams to write, you know, to pass and then get into the classrooms. And other people are getting a 1 month orientation and then being put in the classroom. I just want you to clarify that.
It's not a 1 month. What I'm saying is that the first 1 month is going to be a classroom orientation. But after the 1 month, there is going to be a distance program for them for a year. And those who are not able to even complete, it will take them forward. But by the time they are done, they are certified. So now the motivation is that you are going to be given the certificate.
Okay.
That is a strong motivation.
Let's put that on the banner for now. But the kind of motivation, how is this 1 month going to be a part of their October start date?
They will start. In fact, those who will go and teach this term, they will start their classroom work in September.
But September before October.
Yes.
So if the service year is starting in October, how are some people starting something?
Yeah, because we want to equip them. Because we want to equip them, and we don't want it to affect the 12 months that they need to do the service.
So do I get the impression that the postings will be released very early then? Because if you're thinking putting some people through a certain duration of training before the start of the actual service, it means that some people's service year, if I can say that, will start earlier than others, unless the orientation period is not a part of the
It's not a service year, but we are equipping them. It's not a service year, but we are giving them that opportunity of that orientation.
So this 1 month training, will they get an allowance for the month that they are training?
They are not going to get an allowance, but they will get an incentive. For instance, those who did for that last year, the pilot ones, their T&T was paid. Their T&T was paid to them.
You think that that's enough motivation? When I talked about motivation, I meant that conversations have gone beyond, yes, the orientation is necessary for people who do not have classroom experience, but is there something else that someone who does not choose to remain in Accra or the big cities, do they get any kind of special benefit?
Well,
bonus,
plans are far
extra
ahead.
stipend, allowance?
You see, one, especially those that are posted to the private sector. Those that are posted to the private sector, their remunerations at times are even higher than those that goes to the public sector. Then the question is those that goes to the public sector, especially those that are posted to the various villages and others, what incentive are they going to get? And that is what I'm saying, that those normally that goes to the private sector and those that goes to the public sector, those that goes to the public sector, majority of them are the teachers. And that is why an incentive has also been provided. And beyond that, we are also discussing a lot of things. But since it has not, we haven't finished the discussion, I cannot put it out. But this year, we are talking to so many institutions to help us to be able to motivate them. And by the end of the 2024, that is those who will be doing the posting from now up to the next year, they will definitely get a lot of incentives.
But if majority, assuming the majority of these private sector organizations are in the urban centers, does it not defeat the whole purpose of trying to encourage people to accept postings into the rural communities where perhaps the need is greater?
It doesn't defeat the purpose, because when you talk about sending a lot of them to the private sector is not only found in Accra and Kumasi, because the private sectors are also having their branches elsewhere. So, for instance, those that are posted to the mining sector, the mining sectors are not in the city, but it's still in the private sector.
We are asking you to send your questions and contributions so that we can hear your voice on this conversation. The Executive Director of the National Service Scheme is here, Mr. Osei Asibe Entry, and he's answering some of our questions and yours. Our WhatsApp number is 055-556-1034. Let us know what your thoughts are, and we will ask him accordingly. Once you're here, let's take people through the processes one more time. Where are we currently in the process? Because the postings have not been announced yet. So what's the office working on right now?
Currently, the office is working on the class list. The office is working on the class list. You see, when the universities bring their class list, that is when majority of our staff also become engaged. Because first of all, we need to do what we call classification. The classification means that we need to look at all the courses that they have been taught, so as to look at the alignment, to look at where we can post them. Because gone were the days that we were posting anyhow. This time around, we actually want the posting to have positive effect on the one who is going to do the national service. So you are not posting
people outside the scope of what they've learned in school?
That is exactly so. Now we have created 3 pathways. The first pathway is the create period. And that create period is where we do a lot of analysis to see which area specifically can we send the graduate to that will benefit that graduate. And again, we are also introducing a lot of support services to enhance them. For instance, now we have signed an MOU with a company called Tech Lab. And Tech Lab is helping us in the area of creating a lot of skills or bettering their skills in the area of ICT. So through Tech Lab, we have about 20 hubs across the country. And what we do is to select a lot of the national service personnel, post them there. Those that are posted there, all what they are going to do for the 1 year is that we are going to reorient them to be able to create apps and other IT solutions. And that is also another area national service we've created to be able to support them to become highly employable. Another area is that we have also signed another MOU with a company called Agri Impact. And what Agri Impact does is to inculcate into the national service the civic responsibility, and again to take them to how to become farmers, but not in the villages or not in the forest, but through greenhousing. So they are also there. So the create period is the time where we need to look at all these numbers, all these huge numbers, to be able to realign them properly.
Where do we go from there? After you create, you're working on the class list now, and then what should happen next?
So after the class list, what happened is that we send our officers. So our officers will go for a session of about maybe 10 days. And during the 10 days, that is when they will actually do the actual preparation. The actual preparation is that is where they will look at all the user agency requests and match them for us to know that this year the private sector has brought maybe 50,000. Out of the 50,000, which numbers are going to that private sector? There's that time that they will have to look at all the various universities, what are their demands? Because the universities will also need support in the area of teaching assistants. So we also look at the university's needs and we'll be able to prioritize it. So this is a period where we do all these things. Very soon, we are also working on the list. Very soon, we have something that we call generation of the pins. A team is also working on the generation of the pins. It is the pins when it comes out that is going to be used by the graduates to be able to register. So one team is working on the generation of the pin, another team is working on the classification, another team is also working on the user agency request.
When does the protocol postings begin? When do you receive protocol lists?
What do you mean by a protocol list? You see, the protocol list, maybe, I don't know the term why you are using that word protocol list. We normally receive a list from the universities. So that list from the universities has to be handled because they have trained them. And every university, before leaving the graduates to go, have scanned through to look at what they will need. So the university will send that request to us. So that request is what we need to attend to. And apart from that...
And on that list, they will name specific people.
They will name specific people, the skilled people, so that they will use them to support the teaching. And not only them, there are some companies that also require certain special skills. So those companies at times write to us and write to the universities for the universities to help them in the selection. Once that is done, they will forward it to us. So these are some of the postings that has to be done specially.
Special postings.
So when you talk about special posting, there's postings to the universities, postings to some of these companies. For instance, as of today, I know there's a company that does the distribution of the blood and all the others. Now they will need specialized skills. So they have forwarded this to us. So it means that we need to scan through to look at the skill and put them there.
But you know what the stories are, Mr. Entry, and the suggestion that some people get placed in certain places because they were on certain protocol lists.
You see, when you talk about special posting, it can refer to somebody in need, somebody who have a health need, somebody who has gotten a medical report, doctor's report, that because of condition A, B, C, D, the person will have to be closer to his or her doctor. That one can be termed as special posting.
Mr. Entry, you know what I'm asking?
I'm not in your head, so I wouldn't know.
There are no lists on your table that's asking you. So if two of us are applying, or we are all applicants, if I know somebody who puts my name on a certain list and somebody else doesn't, isn't it a way of ensuring that I get a more, for lack of a better word, favorable place to serve?
Now, with the employability journey that we are embarking on, you know, formally, the mission statement of national service has been mobilization for deployment. Mobilization for deployment, which was only creating national service or positioning national service as a conveyor belt. But now, with the support of my board, it has been worked on. So now our mission statement, the new direction is deployment for employment. So under this deployment for employment model, what we are doing is to ensure that the posting that we are effecting is going to help the graduate to be able to become useful when that thing is done. So with this introduction of the deployment for employment model, we will not do anything untoward.
So that will actually know whom you know.
I did my national service in a village where I was walking every day 3 miles before I can go and teach.
Maybe because you didn't know anybody.
No, so with this experience I've gone through, I am also bringing it here, so that at least, especially people like you, are those who can afford even to support your children when they are posted to the remote areas where they haven't been there before. Let me give you a practical example. During the 2022-2023 posting, I received some big men in my office who came and needed some support. But I told them, the first question I asked was that, your daughter, has your daughter traveled outside Accra before? Do your daughter know Ashanti region? Then fortunately for me, he came with the daughter. I said, no, I don't know there. Have you visited Tamale before? I said, no. Have you gone to UK? I said, yes. Have you gone to America? I said, oh, yes. Then I said, then your daughter is the best person to go to the rural areas so that at least he will know the country well.
So you admit that there are offers or there are requests for special treatment
as for the offer, the
from
offer will come.
Who are in high offices.
As for the offer will come. But as at now, we've positioned ourselves in such a way that if the offer comes, we find a very nice way of appealing to whoever is coming to accept posting, not to defeat it. Because if you look at the main reasons, among the reasons why national service was established, one of them was the cohesion, how we will be able to know each other very well. By national service, those who haven't gone to Tamale before have opportunity to go there. And I have been telling people that come to me an experience of one of the leadership at the TTEL, who is a white person. He came from UK to come and do his national service in one of the villages in the northern region. But that was where God blessed him with even a wife. So it means that there are a lot of opportunities. So I do not support, and I will take this, your platform, to appeal to those are the high-class areas, that it is better they advise their children to support us by accepting postings to wherever they are being posted to.
I'm sure the screen will ask this, so perhaps I will hold on to it for now. But here are your messages on our WhatsApp number 055-5561-034. Your thoughts are yours and not the opinions of GBC. Good morning. So quite a number of messages here. Ask Mr. Osei, what happens after is it the Tyrell or Tyrell program for non-education graduates as far as teaching is concerned? Does that certificate make them professional teachers? And I was asking you this exact same question. So clarify that for us quickly.
Yeah, I've told you that, well, we are in high discussion with TITA and we are in high discussion with NTC. And the arrangements are far ahead and far done that after their 1 year, they will become professional.
Is it not likely to affect the objective of institutions like UEW and UCC, who are noted to be teacher training institutions?
Now, currently in this country, there are distance programs. There are distance programs which is ongoing. Now we have our workers doing all their formal work, but at the same time, they are able to do distance program to get a diploma. So what is wrong if a national service has that opportunity, and this time, even it is not he who is paying, neither is his parents that are paying, but now they've gotten TTEL that is sponsoring it, and so they are sponsoring them for them to go through a curriculum that can earn them a certificate. Is it not the best thing to do and to happen to the country, Ghana?
What happens to students with special needs as far as NSS is concerned? And the Alawa, is it going to remain the same, or should we expect an increase this year?
Oh, the Alawa, we have worked, in fact, we've actually worked on it. And where it is now, I am clear in my mind that very soon they will hear good news.
What about the special needs students?
The special needs students, in fact, we are also taking good care of them, because now at our office we have created a whole inclusion desk, a desk headed by a PhD holder whose responsibility is to attend to people with special needs.
Someone is asking when the PIN codes will be released this year. Earlier you said you were at the work list.
We are working on it, so when it's ready, it will go out.
Okay. Someone is saying, really suffering for this service thing and our expectations aren't met. We've started selling the small properties we have for survival. We are in arrears and they haven't paid our June allowance. Kindly let him talk about it. Why the delay?
Why the delay? We are working on it. And the person himself also will know that we have done well by always being on point for them to get it. This is the first time that at times we are even able to pay them doubled. But when it's happened that way, they don't talk about it. I'm
a service personnel at the Ghana East Municipal Assembly. I want to say a very big thank you For the uplift in the face of National Service Scheme, I look forward to gain employment after service through the Deployment for Employment Mission. God bless you for the hard work to the state. Hello, please, sometimes where they post you, you find difficulty getting a room to rent and the pay is not enough. They should try to increase it because rent is expensive. And it comes back to this whole accommodation issue and the suggestions that perhaps put them at a place where they don't have to, you know, dole out money to actually have to go and rent a place.
Well, last year we actually worked on something like that. Well, last year we, especially those going to teach, last year we gave them the opportunity of indicating where they were staying, and some of them we were able to let them stay where they were to offer the national service.
More questions on our screen. I learned you have signed a memo with the Ghana Police so you can have NSPs at the Urban Traffic Management take advantage of the service. Is that true? Have you signed any such agreement with the Ghana Police Service to get national service personnel helping manage traffic situations?
That collaboration was there a long time ago, even before I came. In fact, there's a collaboration arrangement between NSS and Ghana Police, which we have always been supporting them each year.
People are asking you direct questions. Why don't you take interest in the non-payment of allowances to nurses 1 year into their service? But someone specifically asked, if you've received your June salary, why haven't you ensured that the national service personnel also receive their June allowances? I'm trying to scroll to get some more of your questions. 05555610034. Is there anything like special posting? And I think he's answered that there are. There are people out there claiming to be part of your team to help us to be posted to any place of our choice. So, essentially, this is a widely held perception which continues to rear its head when it comes to postings. People claim they can work it for you. In putting it in Ghanaian English. People say they can work it for you to get anywhere you want.
Well, in fact, we have what we call campus orientation. Anytime we visit them, we educate them to stay away from being scammed. Because this issue continuously... So these people are
scammers?
Yes, because we have always been issuing adverts day in and day out. Any campus that we go to do orientation, we put it out there. That now our system is highly digitized.
But if somebody collects money and they actually do what you want them to do, is that a scam?
No, the question is that if the person can collect their money, but the person will not get what they want.
But people get it. People pay money and say, I want company A. They say, okay, company A will cost you X amount of money. They pay and they get company A.
Because we know that we live in an environment where you cannot take the satanic ones out of it. That is why we are always ahead of them. So now we
satanic ones.
Yeah. So now we are using the digitization to make our system very strict. So
you admit there are satanic people in...
No, but they will be there, but they can't get us. No, I'm saying they will be out there as scammers, but they cannot get through our system. Because let me tell you where we are now. Now we've digitized our system to such an extent that formerly the universities were sending their class lists to us through pen drive. Now it is thing of the past. Now you're giving them access to our dashboard. So the universities, the registrars sit at their comfort zone, then have to upload into our system. So because of that, by the time we are done, it's like each university sending it direct into the system, or the university knowing the number, we also knowing the number. And now we also use the digitized means to deploy. So it's going to be difficult. If somebody takes your money, it's going to be difficult for you to penetrate into our system.
But you see, the algorithm was written by a human being. It's coding. The algorithm is perhaps supervised by a human element. It's not AI. It's not artificial intelligence that's generating this from scratch. There is some basis to the information or the placement that will be announced. And that's why there are suggestions. A scammer will take your money and not give you what you want. But if these people are able to indeed influence and change postings, as it were sometimes, then you can understand why people have such concerns, can you?
No, it's going to be difficult for them because I'm sure GBC published it last year, in the beginning of the year, that with the introduction of digitization, we were able to block more than 14,000 that would have wanted to pass through the system but weren't. It was published throughout the whole country. That is how strict the system is. So if the system is not coming through approved sources, it will reject it.
So no kululu,
no. So now let's advise them. Let's take this platform to advise them that don't go and throw your money outside.
This man is one of the honest politicians. Well, I wasn't aware you were a politician. Nana is saying this from Kumasi. Said your son is doing very well in Western North. Good morning. For the unprofessionals, will they still write the licensure exams after the training? Secondly, the fee for the licensure exam is very expensive, 500 Ghana cedis. So we are talking about this orientation for people who are going into the classrooms thing again. I think perhaps we need to find time and bring you back so that we can understand it a bit more, because I'm getting the sense that people are going to use that route to get into professional teaching when they have not actually trained to be professional teachers, because they've gone through the training that you've offered. But if you have a response to that, I'll take it in a short while. I'd like to know if a person can do service twice.
No.
No? Short answer. Okay. How come some region always receive their pay, leaving others? What is the cause?
Depends upon the time they submit their evaluation forms.
Good morning, Thelma. Please ask the man if they pay the national service personnel their last month payment, because the personnel always complain that they did not receive payment for the last month of service. He's spoken about it. It's too sad. I remember my national service and they refused to pay my 8 months salary. I'm sure that you should reach out. So people have issues with receiving their salaries. People have other concerns and they would want to reach out to you. At the end of the interview, I'll give you the opportunity to put your numbers and your handles out there so people can get the help they need. Someone is commending you for your vision to see service personnel get employed after their service to Mother Ghana under the Deployment for Employment Initiative. Sadiq Abubakar sent us that from Cape Coast. Good morning. Can the national service be done twice? He says no. I finished my service in 2019, but I want to do it again. Is it possible? So the short answer is no, you can't do it again. But is there another way? I've heard of voluntary service. Is that a thing or not?
It's one thing that we are currently working on. In fact, we are working on our act. As I sit here, national service has been a scheme for a very long time, because we will be celebrating our 50th anniversary. So plans are far ahead. We are working towards becoming an authority, and that is where we are working. And we have put into it for the approval by the cabinet and that of the parliament for them to consider placing that opportunity or extending that opportunity to people who want to do voluntary service after the national
because
service.
Bolu was a thing,
yes.
a couple of decades ago.
Yeah, so,
right?
we want to bring it back. But
so good information you can say. Yes, he speaks of the campus orientation, and we were told about it, that there is no special posting as he just addressed. But I could speak of the fact that I also know people who do that special posting, and it's accurate. So it's not apostle, it's apokonkro. They're just saying. 559 Ghana cedis for national service allowance since 2017 has long outlived its value. They should do something about it, please. Someone says you've improved the standard of the NSS as of now, and you've proven to be very competent, and for that matter, government should commend you and your service for the good work done so far. The questions are plenty, but they don't keep it short and crisp, so I'll have to round this up very quickly. When is the current NSS ending? Mr. Entry is saying it will end in October. October is the leave month for all the current national service personnel, and also the start month for the new national service year. Mr. Entry, it's been 50 years since this journey started for the National Service Secretariat. I know you are planning some anniversaries, some celebrations. What's the plan?
Well, first of all, thank you. First of all, a committee has been set up and they are seriously working on it. By next week, it's going to be laid before the board for approval. And once that one is done, then we will bring out the timetable to to let the public know how it is going to celebrate across the whole country. And we also use that opportunity to let the public know what national service has been able to do. Because like I told you just about a minute ago, about this year, sending more than 60,000 to support teaching and learning. They're not only going to support them, but by pushing out the 60,000, we have also reduced the government expenditure. We have reduced
by
the
posting
government
to the private sector.
I'm saying that by posting 60,000 national service to support teaching and learning, if GES was to employ that 60,000, it would have been way higher. So by using national service to do that job, we have saved the whole country more than 1 billion Ghana cedis.
But really, the teachers are support teachers. They are not actual trained teachers, which is a different level of expertise.
Well, see, when you go to our villages, when you go to a lot of the areas, they are not there together with a teacher, but they are themselves the teachers in the classroom.
Mr. Entry, thank you. As for the allowance increase.
The allowance increase, I'm assuring them that plans are far ahead. And as it was this current president who increased it to 559, I'm optimistic that the same president is going to increase the number very soon.
Mr. Osei Esibe Entry is the Executive Director of the National Service Scheme. So thank you for making the time.
Thank you.
And that's been our conversation. NSS, the service year to end in October this year, the new service year also to start in that same month of October. So look out as the staff of the National Service Secretariat work out the final details before those PIN codes are announced and the postings will be released. If you have questions, connect with the National Service via their offices and their social media handles and you will get some answers. This has been The Scoop on GTV Breakfast. We'll bring you some sugar to wrap up your Monday morning after the break.
Paint is loved and trusted for its